Why, hello everyone, and thank you so much for coming back for another Retro Fridays. I am really happy to be here as per usual. Now, I am really happy tonight that I'm going to be talking about a movie called Kung Fury. Now, you're going to be maybe a wee bit confused if you've never seen this before, because it is an actual movie, but it is only a 30-31 minute long movie. Now, before we roll the intro, I will have a confession. This movie is not retro in the sense that it's 20 years old or over, so I hope you can forgive me for that. But what I will say is I thought that it really fitted for Retro Fridays because it is a massively retro movie. It screams retro and 80s from the beginning to the end. It is epic, it is golden, it is classic comedic geniusness. So we're going to get the intro rolled and then I am going to be talking to you all about the movie Kung Fury. So here we go. So first off, guys, I will be honest, if you haven't seen the movie Kung Fury, you have no excuses, especially if you have 30 minutes free, because it is only 30 minutes. And it is on YouTube. This was a crowd-funded movie. So if you want to watch it, you can watch it on YouTube. Just type in Kung Fury movie and you will literally be able to watch it. It has 35 million views. 35 million people have viewed it. And I will be honest, there has been 13,000 fools that have disliked it. No, I'm just kidding, but seriously. Basically, I think the majority of those people could possibly be, they're maybe like 17 years of age or something like that, or 18 or 19, and they don't get the 80s, or they don't get 80s jokes and references and stuff like that, because this movie from beginning to end, it's retro, right? But it is stuffed filled with 80s gags, 80s references to the max. Like, I cannot believe inside 30 minutes the amount of not only 80s references was put in, but the amount that was able to be told for the story of this movie within 30 minutes. And if you speak to anybody, go ask any of your friends or any of your family members, have you seen a movie called Kung Fury? Some crazy girl from Ireland done it for a Retro Fridays video, and they're like, never heard of her. But anyways, no, just kidding. So they will literally say the same. It does not feel like, when you watch it, it doesn't feel like a 30-minute movie. It feels like it flies in, but you feel like you've watched it for over an hour. It's that good, but there's just genius how much was fitted in. Now, this movie was directed, created, and pretty much everything almost done by David Sandberg. And David Sandberg is a freaking genius. I'm going to just call him a legend. David Sandberg is a legend because he also is the lead character, Kung Fury, in this, basically Kung Fury. And he's pretty much like, you love his character immediately. You hear his one-liners that are very much like Bruce Campbell. He reminds me kind of a toss-up of a mixture between Bruce Campbell and Ryu from Street Fighter. And if you don't know who Bruce Campbell is, he's in Evil Dead movies, and he's also in the series Ash vs Evil Dead, played by Bruce Campbell, and he comes off with really cheesy, one-liners. And his one-liners very much so put me in mind of Bruce Campbell's and makes me laugh. But his sort of look and stuff, it kind of reminds me of Ryu from Street Fighter. And the thing about this is you just fall in love with his character straight away, because he's just so epic, so classic, and so funny and out there random, just craziness. And it's weird because within even the first couple of minutes, you love the guy straight off the bat. And if you're into randomness and you love the 80s, I cannot stress enough, please go and watch this movie on YouTube if you have not seen it. Again, it's only going to take 30 minutes of your life that you will come to me and appreciate and say, Julie, thank you. And in advance, guys, you are very much welcome. So, the movie, retro start to finish, and the music that is in this movie is classic. And when I say it's retro, I mean it's the proper retro music. It's not like, yeah, okay, some people might think it sounds cheesy, but it's the good cheesy. Do you know what I mean? And this movie, although people see it as, oh, it's a comedy movie, yada yada, but to me, I just appreciate the movie as well, because overall visually it is phenomenal. You've got a lot of like neon colors, purples, the visuals, even the landscape and stuff at times. It's fantastic. And apparently we're supposed to be getting the second one of this, Kung Fury 2. So many of like myself who are fans of the first one have been waiting for a second one, and from what I have heard, I can't confirm this, but Arnie and Michael Fassbender is supposed to be in the second one, and it's supposed to actually be happening this year, but obviously with everything sadly going on in the world right now, I don't know if that's going to work, and I don't know if it's been confirmed, but that's just like from what I've read and from what I've seen in videos and stuff, because I'm always checking every couple of months and stuff, to see if there's any more update, because we've been being told for a long time that there's going to be a Kung Fury 2, so I really hope that there actually is. So basically the premise of this story, guys, right, is Kung Fury was a cop, but then he quit because his partner got killed, right? So he goes back in time on an Omega console. This is what's so cool about it. On an Omega console, and if you don't know what an Omega console is, you're probably fairly young, to be perfectly honest with you, so I wouldn't really worry about it. But an Omega console, and he does that by literally just standing on it. And he then goes inside the Omega console, and you can see him on the screen, but then on the TV or wherever you're watching it, you actually see him like large wise, sort of like all going across, like, and it's there's a lot of arcade sort of stuff in this, like arcade games and stuff, and like old retro arcade games. It's just super, super cool. And he wants to go back in time to go and kill, you're not going to believe this, Adolf Hitler, right? But he actually goes back too far in time, it turns out, and he ends up going to the Viking era, and there's like these two girls, and he's like, oh gosh, I must have been sent too far back in time, and there's this like laser-eyed raptor, and he sees it, he's like, oh no, laser-eyed raptor or whatever, and then the two Viking girls go over, and Thor appears. Now I don't mean Thor from obviously Marvel itself, Chris Hemsworth, but this old kind of dude, right, comes up, and Fury, this is something like Bruce Campbell would say, and he said, your pecs, they're epic. And what I love about his character is how he speaks. It's like the seriousness of it, and although we're not supposed to take him seriously, I think the guy did really well acting wise, and how he portrayed such a really cool character, and that's what I really love about him and love about this movie. And you don't just love him because of things he's saying or things he's doing. I just actually think his character is really cool as an overall, what he was able to do with this movie in such a short amount of time. It's like I say, it's only a 30-minute movie, and I forgot to say, we actually have David Hasselhoff. His song is actually at the end of it. It's called True Survivor. True Survivor, True Survivor, right? So anyways, right, and it's so cool and so retro-esque sort of a music, but yes, it is just absolutely insane, and the visuals are actually better than quite a lot of some Hollywood movies, and that just goes to show, because he actually was self-taught, David Sandberg, from what I have heard and read about him. From he was 17, he decided to self-teach himself like 3D visuals and stuff like that there from his mum's basement, and that's how this whole movie kind of came about, from his mum's basement, and he used like green screen and things. And honestly guys, if you do go and watch it, you will actually realise that it just goes to show sometimes big companies are just sometimes being a wee bit lazy, because the visuals are so top notch. They're amazing, and you love them from the get-go. Like at the start of the movie, pretty much he jumps off a building and it like does a big kick and then lands down. There's this red car, and then he ends up going up into the air, and it's like, oh my gosh. And you will see things in this movie you will not expect to see, and it's right up my alley, guys, because if a lot of you know me, you will know I am absolutely obsessed with randomness, and I'm just outright nuts. But another thing is, I love how they incorporate in the 80s, how things were in the 80s. Like for example, there was a random part where something was brought up on screen. It was like a TV advertisement of what it was like in the 80s. But then also, do you remember, for those of you who are old enough, VHS tapes? How, you know, sometimes you would have had like the liney bits and lines and stuff, and then you would have had the play, like white text play button, and just things like that, references. But it's insane that like practically literally every single scene that's in this movie, you're getting just constant 80s gags and references and visuals as well. And you're like, how did David Sandberg manage it? I would love to ask him, because I just cannot believe how much he put in that short amount of time. So basically, right, my all-time favourite part is the ending, because at the end it just gets even more crazy and more crazy by the moment. I cannot sell this enough, guys, right? Check this out, right? He goes and he then is fighting all the Nazis, basically. There's tons and tons of them, right? And he's just sort of kicking them and backflipping and all sorts. But then he goes over to like one of the Nazis and he goes, "You're gonna need that spine," or something like that, and he goes, "It's holding you back." And then he holds up his spine, just his head on his spine, and it's like watching when he's fighting, literally a mixture between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. It is absolute genius. It is a classic. But then it goes a step further, and it's the part that I remember the very first time I watched it, I laughed so loud. I think the whole street would have heard me laughing. There's a Nazi on the ground and he stands on him. And then he goes along and like pushing his feet along, you know, as you would if you were on a skateboard, going along with the Nazi with his feet on him. And it is just so freaking out there. But I'm going to now come to a scene that I think Endgame stole. Because you know how what am I talking about? Stephen Strange comes along, and you know, everybody comes along in Endgame and they all line up at the end of Endgame. Well, in this movie Kung Fury, how I think they copied it was there was obviously a time portal, and in came at the end when he was fighting all the Nazis, all the ones from the Viking era and that, right? And then they came over and they all sort of like lined up for everybody to fight, and it's just so mad. It's like watching some weird battle or like something, I don't even know, it's like a war. It is absolutely hilarious comedy genius. And you've Adolf Hitler in this movie. Like, you've Adolf Hitler, you've Thor, you've Viking women, you have a laser-eyed reptar, you have flying cars, you have all sorts of stuff, but it's all an arcadey stuff, but it's all 80s references. And also there's a little tiny part, but I super appreciate it, that's a very small tiny animated part, and even more so he looks like Ryu from Street Fighter in that moment. And that animated part was absolutely top notch. It was phenomenal. Like, the visuals kill it in this movie. Like, if I want to sell you it, it's like the visuals, the 80s stuff, the retro, the one-liners that are like Bruce Campbell, and it's just, it shouldn't work on script, on paper, or sorry, it shouldn't work on screen, but it freaking heck did freaking well. Yes, it does. 100% it works out. And what I loved was Adolf Hitler. I'm not going to say the UCK word, the bad word, because I don't know, I just think a lady cursing on videos, it just doesn't sound, it's okay for men, I think, at times, like, as long as it's not too much, but women doing it, I don't know, it just doesn't sound right. It just sounds nasty in my opinion. But basically Adolf Hitler shouts over to him during all this, "If you Kung Fury." It's so funny. Oh, guys. And there's just so many crazy random stuff. Like, at the beginning, they were shooting bullets down a phone, right? And then the cop at the other end of the phone, the bullets came right through the phone, you know, like the old phones that you used to use, like the dial-up phones. My mum and dad had one of those. I had one in my bedroom years ago. I'm an 80s baby. But that was hilarious. And I actually shot the cop because the bullets came through the phone. And you're like, what the friggity freak? Who even thought of that? Like, to come up with these things, even my crazy random head wouldn't even come up with things like that. Like, I just think it's hilarious. So, oh my gosh, that is my review of this epic movie that is only 30 minutes long but feels like it's way longer, but that is a good thing, and I'm honestly meaning that in all seriousness. Ask anybody who has seen this movie, does it feel like a 30-minute movie, and they'll say no, it doesn't. It feels like an hour and a half movie, because when you watch it you'll realise that there's no way you could fit that amount into a movie and for it to work, in my personal opinion anyway. Even in the first 5 to 10 minutes you're like, whoa, I feel like I've been watching this for like 35-40 minutes, and it really, really genuinely does. Anybody I've spoke to that's seen it, that's one of the first things that they say. So come back to me once you've seen it and let me know. There's no excuses, guys. It's a 30-minute long movie. So I cannot stress enough how much I recommend this. And the music, there's a lot of music in it, pretty much the whole way through. A whole way through the movie, retro music, and it's the type of retro music that I just absolutely love. And I on YouTube listen to a lot of like retro music and stuff like that, and that's why in my intro I've added like, not the one that I use for my Retro Fridays, but you know, my normal intro that I use where it comes up like Marvel, DC, Star Wars and Ahsoka comes up and stuff. Well, I've kind of been playing around with a bit of like retro music and stuff like that. But yes, I also love the music that's for my Retro Fridays intro. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. It really means the world to me. I didn't actually think I was going to be able to get this up, because on my community tab yesterday I posted that my internet wasn't working, and I said, look, you know, I might not be able to do Retro Fridays, and earlier today all day the internet wasn't working, but it's working at the minute. So I really, really hope that I'm going to be able to get it up for you. I will feel so bad if I haven't been able to, but if you are watching this, then obviously that's not the case and I should just stop talking. But thank you so much. I really hope that you enjoyed this Retro Friday. I'm sorry if it was maybe a bit too out there, but you know what, guys, that's me. I'm weird and I'm random, and I hope that you will watch it if you haven't seen it, and if you do, I cannot wait to see it. Please let me know. You can always come back and let me know, whether it's in 3 days time, whether it's in a week's time, who cares. Let me know your honest thoughts and opinions, because I think it's going to be hilarious. And if you have seen it, I can already see the comments. It's going to be hilarious. And you know what, even when you go to watch the video afterwards, even the comments of the actual video of the Kung Fury movie is just golden as well. So you can maybe even read through those and reply to some people. But yes, thank you very much for watching. It means the world to me, all the support. And if you would like to donate toward my YouTube channel, you certainly can do so. The PayPal link will be in my video description and also in my pinned comments down in the comments section. It's never ever ever expected, but of course it is super appreciated. Obviously, when everything gets a bit better, I'm going to keep any money that's donated by for Series 2 of Ireland Locations. I actually don't drive at the moment. I was in the middle of doing lessons and stuff, but obviously not anymore. But yes, basically I am not monetized on this platform. I just choose not to be. I don't want to be monetized or have anything to do with YouTube in that sort of a sense. So I make literally no money from this platform. I never have done, and I have been on here now exactly 2 years this month. So people ask how they can donate. They want to pretty much donate. So it's only for anybody who has either asked or if you'd like to, basically. So now that that's embarrassingly out of the way, guys, thank you so much. And yes, lots of love all the way from Ireland to wherever you are. And if you live in Ireland, then that's not really that far, really, is it? Anyways, thanks very much, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, guys.